When you want to get lean, love handles can be one of the most annoying areas to deal with. They are very easy to gain and very difficult to lose. In some cases, it's worse than subcutaneous belly fat and takes even longer to see results. And after coaching hundreds of guys, I've noticed there are patterns and things that most guys do wrong when it comes to losing stubborn fat in areas like the love handles. So in this video, I'm gonna give you the 4 most common mistakes that can lead you to waste months and years trying to get lean without any success. And if you're finally looking to get rid of that muffin top, you'll especially want to hear the last mistake because it's the real reason most people keep losing momentum and never reach this goal. So what makes love handles different and so frustrating to deal with? Aesthetically speaking, love handles are very noticeable. Even if you have a decent amount of muscle on you, this will ruin that V shape that makes your physique stand out. And if you're skinny fat, it looks even worse, giving you that pear-shaped body type. So whether someone looks at you from the front or the back, those layers of fat spilling over your sides are easy to spot. And it can be even more frustrating if you genetically have wider hips like me. It doesn't take a lot of extra weight to have visible love handles. And physically, it's one of those areas where subcutaneous fat gets stored very quickly and takes much longer to mobilize. So similar to losing subcutaneous belly fat, getting rid of love handles takes a lot of patience and time. It's typically one of the last areas to go. This is why it's critical to avoid as many mistakes as possible and that you're in it for the long haul. Now, speaking of mistakes, the first mistake you need to avoid is what I call making false progress. I see guys screw this up all the time. They're fed up with being out of shape, so they decide to finally do something about it. They take one thing they heard somewhere and double down on it. It's usually stuff like fasting, very low calorie intakes, 1 meal a day, or doing cardio every day. And with this, it's easy to get stuck in a false positive feedback loop because if you don't eat much and you start exercising a lot, you lose weight right away. And temporarily, you'll feel less frustrated as the scale goes down. It looks like you're making progress. But the problem is, there's no longevity with this emotionally driven plan. You eventually burn out, or get too hungry, or get hurt due to pushing your body too much too soon. Plus, you lose muscle, which slows down your metabolism. And then you drop off. And guess what? You become even more frustrated. Not only are the love handles still there, you're also disappointed in yourself for not following through. Don't do this to yourself. Realize this is not about intensity. This is about consistency. Before jumping into a plan, ask yourself, can I see myself following this routine and living this lifestyle for the next year? If the answer is no, you need to rethink the approach because you can't lose your love handles overnight. It's not about extremes or quick fixes, it's about making sustainable changes. Now, with that out of the way, the second mistake most people make is avoiding diet accountability. I often hear things like, Mario, I'm eating very clean, I don't eat any junk food, I don't drink any sodas, I'm not really eating a lot of food. And sure, that's all great, but here's the reality. None of that guarantees you're in a calorie deficit. Just because you feel like you're not eating a lot, it doesn't mean your calories are low enough to lose fat. And if you're not data-driven and accountable with your food, in the end, you're just guessing. And deep down, most people know this. They know tracking matters, but because it feels like a chore, they avoid it. And instead, they try to out-cardio the diet or jump into some delivery service or a strict meal plan. But here's the truth. If you don't know how many calories you're putting in your body and what you're supposed to be eating, it doesn't matter how clean you eat. You're not in control. And for losing love handles, belly fat, or any other fat, diet is 70-80% of your results, and it's why you're stuck. So what I recommend doing is committing to a 30-day metabolic audit. For the next 30 days, I want you to track everything you're putting in your body and weigh yourself every day. You can use any app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer or even a Google spreadsheet. The goal is to find your baseline and see how what you eat affects your weight. If you're not losing after 2 weeks, drop calories by 250 per day and go from there. If you're not getting 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of your goal weight in protein, add more lean protein foods into the diet. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you do that right now. If you're getting too hungry, increase your fiber and water intake. Once you start working with numbers, you gain control. It's no longer about guessing, it's about fine-tuning and predictable progress. You'll learn more about how your body works in these 30 days than in 3 years of winging it. Now, even though diet is most important, we can't neglect training. And this brings me to the third mistake, which is following love handle workouts. The internet is flooded with these 10-minute workout videos for losing love handles. The idea is if you do certain core exercises like side planks, leg raises, or crunches, it will help target love handles and burn fat in that specific area. And the truth is, this is mostly a waste of time if you want to see results. There's no such thing as an exercise for losing love handles. You can strengthen your core, but it won't make a meaningful difference in how much fat you have on your sides. We can't spot reduce fat, and we don't have control where the fat comes from. This depends entirely on our genetics. To lose love handles, we need to lose fat all over our body. Now, this doesn't mean exercise isn't important. It absolutely is, but not in the way these videos make it seem. If you're sedentary and as a result have very slow metabolism, well, you'd practically need to starve yourself to lose weight. It won't be sustainable. In that case, increasing your activity through exercise will allow you to eat more, make the diet more manageable, while still creating a calorie deficit. And that's exactly why I recommend getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. And you can easily substitute walking for cycling, swimming, or another activity you prefer. I personally like walking and find it the most enjoyable. Just be careful not to use this extra movement as a license to eat more. I see this mistake all the time. Instead, treat it as a bonus. More steps means more fat loss for that day. Now, to get rid of love handles permanently and get an impressive physique, you really want a body recomposition, not just weight loss. And for that, hypertrophy-focused training plays a key role. So on top of walking, I recommend doing at least 3 full body weight training sessions per week. 45 minutes to an hour, 5 exercises per session, focusing on good form and getting stronger in that moderate rep range between 8 to 15 reps. You'll lose more body fat and it will be easier to keep the fat off for good. And as you build more muscle, what you'll notice is that you get to spread the subcutaneous fat across a larger surface area, so even at a higher body fat percentage, you look leaner. And as you widen your shoulders and your back, your waist will also naturally appear smaller. Now, even if you're avoiding all the mistakes we talked about so far, there's still one thing that will stop your progress if you don't do it right. And that fourth mistake is what I call fragile consistency. The thing is, it's easy to be consistent when life is convenient, when your schedule's wide open, you're sleeping well, work is calm, and you're locked in. What I see with most guys is the second life gets messy, with family stuff, they go on a trip or get slammed at work, the entire routine falls apart. And that 1 week off quickly becomes a month off and they lose all the momentum. Most guys don't realize that being consistent isn't about what you do when things are perfect. It's about what you do when they're not. And a lot of the guys I coach have the same type A black and white mentality. They would go all in 5-6 days a week in the gym, meal prepping, hitting 12,000 steps a day, tracking every calorie, and when they can't do it perfectly, they fall off. Historically, you see them always kind of starting and stopping, having some good months and some bad months. There is no real consistency. So here's how we fix that. Instead of thinking in extremes, we create 3 levels of each plan. First, we got level A, which is what I call optimal execution. This is your perfect week. You lift 4 or 5 days per week, you do 1-hour workouts, 6-7 exercises, you're pushing yourself hard, you're tracking all your calories and macros with a scale, you're planning all your meals, you're hitting over 10,000 steps a day, you're going to bed on time, managing stress. Everything is dialed in. And everyone would love to live at level A. When you can, it's great. That's where your progress is the fastest. But when you can't, that's where level B comes in, what I call sustainable consistency. This is your fallback plan when work picks up, you're short on time, and life gets chaotic. Now you're lifting 3 days per week, 45-minute full body workouts. You're still training to make progress, but it's more of a minimalist approach. You keep your food choices very simple and repeatable. So even if you're not tracking every gram because you're repeating meals you ate before, your protein and calories will be mostly okay. You get 6,000-7,000 steps a day and try to get as much sleep as possible. This is where a lot of good progress happens. And depending on how busy your lifestyle is, you might be spending 50 to 70% of your time at level B. And if you're a perfectionist like I am, level B also proves to us that we don't have to be perfect to get good results, which goes a long way for conquering that black and white mindset. But there are also times where even level B is just not doable. And that's where we go to level C, which is maintenance mode. This is for very hard weeks and major life events. We focus on the bare minimum. 2 30-minute workouts, even if it's at home with limited equipment or just body weight. You walk at least 20-30 minutes a day, you eat mindfully, you prioritize protein with every meal, and you avoid binges and major diet setbacks. This level doesn't necessarily move you forward much, but it does prevent you from going backwards. Think of it like you're pushing a boulder up the hill. If the weather is great and you're not tired, you push and make a lot of progress. But if there's a storm and it's slippery, well, you're better off just keeping that boulder in one place and not letting it slide back. Once the storm passes, you move forward again. Level C isn't about gaining ground, it's about not losing what you already earned. You protect your progress so when things settle, you can ramp up without starting over. The mistake most people make is trying to be at level A forever, and when they can't, they drop to 0 instead of falling back to level B or C. The guys that I know that get lean and stay lean don't operate at 100% every day. Nobody does. They just never let themselves hit 0 and revert back. That's the system you need to have in place to get results long term. If you'd like to work with me to help you set things up and coach you through the process, details for coaching are in the description below, so check those out. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.